June 1st, 2007. Architects, craftspeople, contractors, historic site administrators, and homeowners begin a truly hands-on 3-day workshop at historic Menokin. Sponsored by the Menokin Foundation and Rappahannock Community College, this first-of-its-kind educational offering gave the public an up-close view of an 18th century ruin and the methods being used to learn from it and breathe new life back into it. The 3-day event started with a tour of the ruin and the story of its original inhabitants, Francis Lightfoot Lee and his bride, Rebecca Taylor.
Her father was there serving in the House of Burgesses, and Mr. Taylor did not want his Becky going to Loudoun County. At that time was, the hinterlands and fairly rough. So, he gave them this property and financed the construction of the house. So Frank Lee picks up, moves here. He has a new bride. He serves in the House of Burgesses from Richmond County. We also know that while the house is being built, he's sick. We don't really know what's wrong with him, but he complains of respiratory problems. So he's got a lot on his plate while he's building this house.
Conservators John Lee, Charles Phillips, and Ellen Hagston led the 3-day workshop.
A photograph from 1925 of an architect from the Northern Neck and the owner at the time standing right there. And guess what? All the same cracks were there. They hadn't gotten any bigger since 1925. Really elegant Portland cement repairs. I mean, that's what the 20th century has done to all these buildings. It's attacked them all with Portland cement. We've been trying various sort of gel removers to break that stuff up and take it off. Been working with a chemist at the Winter, seeing if we can do something a little different. So,
most of the coins have just square cut ends on this face. They're nicely beveled and so forth, and they come to a square cut edge. But some of them are cut for a return, as you can see. Why are some of them truncated off square, some of them a little bit more sophisticated with the return cut on them? There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, and it's not like one corner's got them all dressed and the other corner doesn't, or anything. They're just sort of helter-skelter in terms of their placement. And we keep seeing things like that.
So basically what you're looking at, for example, on a masonry wall is when you first come in the morning, dampen the wall before you start doing anything else. And then, when you're mixing your mortar, somewhere along the way, maybe a half hour later, go ahead and dampen it again. And then depending, sometimes of the year that may be all you need. Other times of the year you may be wetting it every half hour. And you got to just kind of watch it. It's not one of those things where you can put in the specifications, you must water at this amount, at this interval.
Adding his perspective and insight was Jeffrey Klee of the historic Williamsburg Foundation, who made a presentation on how to look at old buildings.
Now, in the 1960s and 70s, as part of a larger academic movement studying folklore in North America, the study of early American architecture really took I would say, a quantum leap forward in intensity, in terms of the numbers of people running around looking at early American buildings, and I think the sophistication with which they looked at early American buildings. And these people, this generation, were my teachers. So I am very much part of this latter tradition, which sees buildings as not just aesthetic objects, which indeed they are in many cases, but also as bits of evidence, as historical documents.
At Gunston Hall,
there was plenty of give and take with the instructors throughout the weekend, as participants didn't just sit passively and listen, but engaged with the instructors and got to see preservation methods up close.
that leads to the garden. All the rest of the doors, even first floor, are large HLs.
A session on 18th century mortars gave participants a close look at masonry techniques and let them actually test drive a batch of lime-based mortar.
Like this stays on your tool.
Yeah, doesn't it? Really, it's always falling off.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Now the stuff that they had before was falling off because it wasn't old enough. This is just really nice.
By the end of the 3 days, the workshop was deemed a success by its participants.
How about doing
The organization is absolutely top shelf, and what they're doing is so exciting in so many ways that they're really turning this into an educational experience, and they're doing a fabulous job, I think. The people who were with the organization are great, and the people who did the presentations have been fantastic. They've gotten fabulous people coming in, the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation people, and it's just been super. I mean, I thought I knew something about historic conservation, and find out that what I know is the tip of the iceberg.
I loved it. These people really knew what they were talking about, knew what they were doing, and they were very willing to share their experience and expertise and knowledge with you.
I signed up for the course was an interest in doing some preservation work on the piers at Shiloh School, and I thought this course would be a big help, and it certainly will.
the technology that these people have is just so extraordinary in the terms of showing to us. We think we know something. You don't ever all know it all. But to be able to see that what it is possible to do, it would seem unbelievable. It was enough to look at the ruin to begin with.
Although Menokin is partially in ruin, approximately 80% of its original materials survive, including the original stones, brick and mortar, girders and joists, and the interior woodwork. It continues to be a teaching tool, not only providing a glimpse of 18th century building techniques, but providing a teaching laboratory where preservationists may test the latest conservation methods. For more information about Menokin's educational opportunities, call today or visit us on the web at www.menokin.org.